Okay, I guess we can start now. So I've seen quite a number of new names here in the participant list. So welcome. And today is actually our final session of Learn Flutter Together. And this is the 7th session. So before this, we have been through the some of the code labs that is suited for beginners. So like at least now you should have set up your Flutter environment, plus you would have known how to write a basic Flutter app. And then we also explore on the building the layouts in Flutter. And then today we will do something special, that is building a desktop application with Flutter. So as you might have known that in Flutter you can write your code once. So with the same code base, you can deploy to multiple platforms, like not only limited to Android and iOS, but also to web and desktop. So that's what we are going to do today, which is to build a desktop application. So for those who, okay, let me go to the next slide. So just to give you a short introduction about Women Who Code. So we started in San Francisco in 2011, and our mission is to inspire women to excel in technology careers. Right now, we have already we have over 230,000 members in 84 cities around the world. And the Kuala Lumpur chapter is launched in 2014, so that's about 6 years ago. And now we have already organized more than 100 events. So if you want to check out some of our future events, make sure to follow our Facebook page. So just a little bit introduction about our Flutter study group. So I've mentioned this before, this is not a workshop, so we encourage active participation from everyone. So whenever you want to speak or ask questions, feel free to unmute yourself throughout the session. And then you can also share your screen. So in Zoom, you can share your screen to debug together or to show your progress. And then this group is where we can help one another. So the answer can come from anyone at all. And then if you haven't joined our Facebook group, we actually have a private group here in the link. I will place it in the chat later. So if you have any question or anything to discuss after this, just post it in the group here. So we can start now. Okay, maybe let me copy this link first. Okay, so what we are going to do today is to write a Flutter desktop application. This link you can find in our Facebook group, and then it's under the units. So here I have listed down the materials for each session, and today we are going to look at this one, the 7th unit. So you can go to the URL here, which I have already opened up at here. So what we are going to build today is actually a GraphQL API client desktop application. So like you can see here, the screenshot of what we are going to build today is, it looks quite complicated. Yeah, there are a lot of steps that we need to go through today. So, but no worries, we can go through it one by one. So if you haven't set up your Flutter environment, you can follow our first unit, because in the first unit, we went through on the installation and setup. So we even have the recording here if you want to review it, or else the Flutter, the official documentation on setting up, I think is pretty good already. Okay. So here, there are some special setup that you need to do for desktop applications because desktop support is still in alpha. So previously we have used the stable channel. So for your information, there are many different channels. Like there is the master channel, which is the bleeding edge version. And then there is the dev channel, which is for alpha. I think there is one for called beta. And finally, there's the stable one. So today we are going to switch to the dev channel. So I have did this before. So maybe I can run it again. So you can open up your terminal and then run Flutter channel dev. Then it will switch your channel. So here it says that I'm already on dev. Oh, there's a question from Thomas. Any opinions on Flutter on iOS versus Android? I think so far it is both equally stable, yes. So it depends on which environment you want to build for. But then usually Flutter developers would want to build for both, right? So I think they are both good. So far, so good. I have also developed a few mobile apps for the company using Flutter. So yeah, it's pretty stable. And then, yeah, let's continue. And then you need to run Flutter upgrade, which I already did. So I'm not going to do it again, else it's going to take some time to fetch the libraries and dependencies. So you can run this on your own. And then there are 3 commands here. You don't have to run all 3. Like let's say if you're on Windows, then you run the first one. If you're on Mac, then the second one, and Linux for the third. So I have already run this because I'm using Mac. So after you have completed the commands, then you can run Flutter devices to make sure that you have already set up correctly. So I can run this. Yep. So here it says that I have 3 connected devices. I have the Mac OS desktop set up. So we are good to go. Okay, back to here. So here there are some troubleshooting steps. If you don't see your platform listed here, then you might need to went through some of the steps. Or else, then now, as usual, we need to create a new Flutter app. So we use the Flutter create command. For this one, I have already run as well. And then there are some platform specific steps. So if you are on Mac or Linux, then you can write this, and then you can run this. Or if you're on Windows, then you can run this one. So the thing that they want to do here is just to remove the Android, iOS, and web support files. It's actually just to simplify the code lab. So if you don't want to remove it, that's okay as well. Okay, then finally you can run the Flutter run command to make sure that at least it could open up the basic app, the starter app. So I can run this. Flutter run. So then now here is something different. In the past few weeks, we run it on either an Android or iOS device, but now we are building a desktop application. Okay, give it some time to build. All right, so this is how it looks like. It is a Mac application, and then we can click here and verify that it is working. Okay, cool. I will close this. And then now we need to, because what we are building is a GitHub application, so we need to do something first. Like first we need to register the GitHub OAuth application. And then this one, if you don't have a GitHub account, you need to create one. And I have a GitHub account, and then I have already went through the steps here to register a new OAuth app. So if I open up this link, I should go to the official documentation in GitHub. So there are the steps here that you can follow. Open up the settings, and then create a new OAuth app. Okay, so here in my developer settings, I have already created one called the Flutter desktop app. For this one, I am just following what is listed here. So in this part, the homepage URL, you can change it to your own. Maybe you have a repository in GitHub, then you can change it to that. So here I'm just taking one of the sample app that I created, and then yeah, so I just use this URL and put in the field. And then the most important part is actually this one, the authorization callback URL. But this must be exactly as shown here as the callback URL. And then after you have done those steps, you will actually go to another screen that shows the client ID and secret. So you need to take note of that two values. And then after that, you need to put it in a new file for the GitHub or the credentials.dat. But before that, let's follow the steps here. So you need to add the packages. So there are some new packages we need to add to our dependencies. But this one I have already copied and moved it to my parts pack. So it's here. I have pasted it. Then you will also need to create a new file, which I mentioned just now. So I have already created this. I'm not going to show you this because it contains the credentials and the client secret. So it's pretty straightforward. You can copy the GitHub client ID and the secret from the app that you have created. So once you click into here, then it will show you the client ID and secret. Okay, then now is the time that we build the widget for the desktop flow. So yeah, like what it has mentioned here, it looks quite complicated, but then don't worry about it. I'm just going to copy this and then paste it in a new file called github login.dart. So here it mentions that it's a good practice to place it under the lib source directory. So here we are no longer placing it under the lib directory, but then we create a new folder and then we place it under that. So this one, I have also copied this. Oops. And then I paste it here. So I have already got the file here. Okay. And then there are some additional steps if you're on Mac, where I'm going to do this. So you need to change some files in the macOS folder. So I will just copy this and put inside the macOS runner debug profile. Okay, so it's here, macOS runner debug profile. We just need to add this entry. Oops. Below here. And then the release.entitlements. Okay, there are two entries. Release. All right. So after this, we need to put it inside the main.dart. Make sure that we are using the new GitHub login widget that we have created. So I guess I will just copy the whole thing. And go to my main.dart and paste it. So, okay, let's see how I can move this thing. Okay. Then now we need to run this. Okay. I can go here and then run it. And then here, if you're using Visual Studio Code, you can see the currently selected device here. So I have the Mac OS selected. So this will build a Mac app. Okay, let's wait for it to build. The first build usually takes longer. And if you have any question, just feel free to ask. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it. It has already been built. And then now we have this one. So I need to press login to GitHub. And this will bring to your browser. And then now you need to authorize the desktop app. Okay. Okay, password. So, yep, it's done. Then you will see this message that says you are logged into GitHub. So this means that until this point, your desktop app has been set up and configured correctly. So what's next? Okay, so maybe there are a lot of you who hasn't heard of the term GraphQL, and GraphQL is actually is, how do I say, is a platform that provides a complete and understandable description of your data in your API. So there are some companies which use GraphQL as their server, and with the term QL is actually a query language. No, don't worry about that. You can check out more information from the GraphQL website. And then GitHub, the latest version of GitHub's API is using GraphQL. And then there are a lot of things that you can explore here. So there is also the GraphQL API Explorer. So at the left, you have the query language, and then you can run it. Oh, I actually need to sign in first in order to use. Oh my, so many things. Okay, so you can explore here. And then it's actually like when you import what are the things that you want to fetch from GitHub, then once you run it, then it can return you the data here. So that's the very basic introduction of GraphQL. And then now we need to add more dependencies to our pub spec. So we need a bunch of GraphQL packages here. And add this to pub spec. Okay. So when I save it, it will fetch the packages. Oh yeah, thanks Albert for explaining it. Okay, then we also need to add the def dependencies. We don't have the last one as well. Okay. All right. So now we need to retrieve the GraphQL schema of GitHub. So let's see, how do we do that? So we need to run this in the terminal. This will create a new folder. I guess I should run it in the project root. So I go to the built-in terminal here and then run this. So this will create a new folder here. And then we need to run this as well to fetch the schema file. Oops. Oh, I don't have wget in my terminal. Maybe I will go to the bash and see if I can run this. Oh, maybe I need to install wget first. Or does anyone know how the alternative way to do it on Mac? Let's see how I can install wget on Mac. I can use Homebrew. Okay. Ooh. Okay. I didn't know that I don't have wget. Okay, so this one is, okay, let's see what the commands do. We create a schema.docs.graphql that the code generation pipeline used to type check your queries. And now we will need a query. So start with the default query that the GitHub Explorer start with, which is, where is my GitHub Explorer? Yeah. So it's this one. With one slight alteration by giving the query a name in order for the code generator to generate your type-safe client library. Okay, so we need to create this file later. Okay, still installing wget. Okay, never mind. We can put this file first. We can create this file first. So I will do it in lib source GitHub GQL. Okay, we don't have the folder yet. And then create a new file called github queries.graphql. Okay. Paste this. Okay, this one will take some time. Now we can move on to configure the build runner first. So build runner, let's see what is a build runner. So it's a way of generating files. So I remember last time I used this before as one of the build tool. So this can generate some codes for you. So what we need to do, we need to add rules to build.yaml. Okay. And where should I put the build.yaml? In this case, you configure how the GQL package generates code from the schema and the queries you create in the Explorer. Okay. So copy this. Where do I put this again? No, it didn't mention. But then let's see the root file. In GitHub, they put it here. Okay, I guess it's anywhere in the app. I'm not sure. Okay, so it's here in the project root folder. All right. And my wget is installed. So now I can do this. Okay. And yeah, I need to put this in the build.yaml file. So I create a file here. Then okay, so here there is a deep dive on how to use Speedrunner to do code generation. You can watch the video after this. And now we have all the parts in place. We can run build runner to generate the GraphQL client library. Okay, so I can run this in the terminal. Let's give it some time. If you look through the GitHub GraphQL schema and GitHub GQL folder, you will see that now you have a lot of newly generated code. Okay, so now it has succeeded. Let's see if I have the newly generated code. Yeah, I can see here there is the ast.gql.dart, and this is a generated code. This as well. So there's a whole bunch of generated code here, and also in the third-party GitHub GraphQL schema folder, this and this. Yeah, let's see how we can use this later. And now we put it in our lib main.dart. So I guess I will copy the whole thing again. And go to my main.dart and paste it here. Okay, I guess I need to stop this and run again. Albert asked that if I add a new dependency on package, does that mean Flutter will download the dependency when I build the app? Actually, it will already start downloading when you have edited the pubspec file and then save it. So like just now, when I did this, when I add some new dependencies here and then I save it, it will already run the Flutter pubget for me. So this will fetch all the dependencies that you have added here. And then if it doesn't run automatically, you can always run this command after you have made the changes here. Okay. And now we have already, I think the app is built. Yep. So we can press this again. And then here it shows my GitHub username. So this means that we have done it correctly. So this is the expected output. And what do we do in the next step? We will eliminate the annoyance in the current code base and bring the application back to the foreground after authenticating. Okay, because right now when we tap on the login button, then it open up a web page, but then it doesn't bring it back automatically. So let's see. Well, we need to create a Flutter plugin. To have the application automatically bring itself front back. Okay, I will just follow the macOS steps here. I will need the NS applications activate ignoring other apps. All right. So we need a new plugin for this. So we need to run Flutter create, but this time creating a plugin. So first we need to step outside of the project. Let's go back to my terminal. Right now I'm inside the project. So let's go outside first and then run Flutter create plugin. Okay, now the plugin has been created. So again, we remove the Android, iOS, and example folder inside the starter app or the starter plugin. And remove this. Oh, there is no such directory. So what's inside here? Okay, there's only the macOS folder. Okay, so now we need to configure the PubSpec YAML file in the window to front plugin. Let me open up with Visual Studio Code again. And then in the PubSpec, by deleting the Android and iOS configuration section. Okay. Do I have it? No, I only have macOS as the platform here. So I guess I'm missing some steps. Before this, I might need to enable also for the Windows and Linux support. I think it's in the third step here. So I guess if I run this tool as well, then I will have the two sections in the PubSpec YAML file. Okay, never mind. So now we need to add the Swift code that port the window forward. And okay, the Mac OS classes window to front. Okay. And this Mac OS classes. Yeah. I will. Okay, it says add from here to here. After the switch call dot method. Oh, something different. Okay. I guess I can just add one more case below this. Okay, so if you have the Linux and Windows support, you can also follow the steps here. I will skip this. And this is for Windows. And finally, I will add this to lib window to front dot dot. Okay, add from here to here. So I need to add the activate method. Window to front dot dot. And then it says delete the getter method. But if I delete this, I will also need to delete from the Swift file just now. So I can do this. And then I will also delete from here. Now the plugin is complete. We can go back to the GitHub GraphQL client project. Okay. I've seen quite a number of discussions in the chat. Yeah, Thomas is saying about the variations of what GraphQL is. Yeah, so thanks for that. Good to know. Because even though I've come across GraphQL before, but then never had a deep dive into it. So let's go back to the project. And then we need to add a few dependencies. Okay, we need to add the path to our plugin that we created just now. So let's go to here and then add this. So, yep. Done. And because this plugin we have just created, we didn't publish it to hub.dev. So you need to specify the path to the plugin folder. And then finally, we need to make changes in the main dot dot again. So we need to add this. Now we can import the plugin that we created. Let's go to the main dot dot and then import it. Doesn't exist. Am I in the correct project? Window to front. Okay. Never mind. I will add this first. What else? I think just these two. I will put it inside the GitHub login widget builder. Okay. So here, and then see if I can, it cannot find the package. What am I doing wrong here? I have the dependencies here. It's called window to front. And then, yes, I think the path is correct. So I have my GitHub GraphQL client plus window to front. This should link to the correct place. Or should I reset this? Oops, this is blocking me. Okay, revert the window. And go back to my main.dart. Try to import it again. Okay, so now it's able to find it. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, what's next? In the next session, you will build on the base that you have to create a desktop GitHub client that gives you insight. Actually, we should try to run this first. So go here and run this. Okay, now our app is built. Let's try this again. Log in. Ooh, so it can automatically bring me back to the app after it has done the authentication. Cool. And now we can go to our final step. So let's do more things. Now we can list the repositories, pull requests, and also the assign issues. So we need to create the query file first to be able to display information from GitHub. You need to retrieve it. So yep, we need to add the queries. And add this inside the GitHub queries.graphql. Let's go back to here, GitHub queries. So what are we fetching here? We are fetching the list of repositories and a bunch of information in the repository. And then we also fetch the assign issues plus the pull request. So, okay. And then we need to run the build runner again to generate the client library. Let's do this, okay. Copy. every time I run this, these files will be changed, will be updated. Right now, it only has the viewer detail. So now it is regenerating again. Okay. All right. So now it has the pull request. Oh, this is long. Assign issues and the repositories. So with the build runner, it's quite convenient that it generates this file for you, so you don't have to write it yourself. And then the best thing is it does all the type checking for you. So let's go back. And we need to add one last dependency, which is the Flutter icon. Okay. Add it in PubSpec. And just make sure that it can fetch the packages. Okay, so now we need to render the results to screen. There are a few widgets that we need to create. I guess the first one is the GitHub summary. We are going to use the GraphQL queries we created to populate a navigation rail widget. What is a navigation rail? And this is something new from one of the recent version of Flutter. You can run this and see the output. Yeah, so this is the navigation rail. Okay. With views of your repositories, assign issues, and pull requests. Yep. And then we will need to create this new file in our source folder. Okay, let's copy this first. It's a very long file. No. This in GitHub summary. Okay. GitHub summary dot. Okay. And now okay, here it says about the upside is that it's pretty normal Flutter code with all the widgets. Yeah, so here we can check what we have created here. There are a few new widgets. So first we have the GitHub summary, and it's a stateful widget. And inside here we use navigation rail, and each button in the navigation, it can go to different pages. So one is repositories, assign issues, and also the pull request. And then finally, you have children that render the repositories list, issues list, and PR list. So each of the list is also a widget. And just let's take a look at the repositories list. Inside here in the build method, we have a future builder. So here we use a future builder because we need to fetch the repositories from GitHub. So this one is a feature that you define here. And then in the builder, you retrieve the snapshot. So if it fails to fetch or it has error, then it will show an error message. And then while it is loading, it is still fetching, that it will show a loading indicator. Then finally, when you have received data, so in this case, the data is the repositories that we fetch, then it will render a list tile that shows some of the information like the description, the name of the repositories, and then finally you can also tap to launch the URL of the repository. And then you have issues list as well. I guess the logic is more or less the same. You also have a future builder. Yep, we have a future builder that fetches the assigned issues from GitHub. And finally, you have the pull request list. Same thing. Shows the information of the pull request. And then some tool for error handling here. So this is to show the error message, I guess. And then you can launch the URL. And this called the show dialog, which will show an alert dialog of the URL if there's error. Else it will just launch it. Okay. Put it together one last time. Yep. So now we need to put in the GitHub summary to the main.dat file again. So I shall replace the whole content here. Where's my main.dat? Okay, I replace this. Okay, so every time after you have added a new package, you need to start again. The hot reload will not work. Okay, so hopefully when we have built the application, we should see this. Okay, I need to log in again. All right, so here I have 3 tabs in the navigation rail, and then each of them has the icon, which is imported from the Flutter icon package. And this is a list that you can scroll through. Yeah, I have quite a lot of repositories here. And then when you tap on each one, it will launch the URL of the repository. So it's working pretty good, it seems. Yeah. And then I can also view the issues here. Yeah, right now I don't have any assigned issues, so this page is empty. And then I think you can do something like after this, when it's empty, then you can show a message or an image plus a message here. And then finally, I have the list of pull requests, which is also empty because I don't really use GitHub. And then, yeah. So at least this page is working well. So if your GitHub account has a bunch of assigned issues and pull requests, you can also check this page out and see if it works. Okay. I guess that's the end of the code lab. Yeah, so Like here we have already explored how we can build a desktop application, and then this app is actually a bit complicated, especially for those who are just getting started into using Flutter. But then I think the good thing is once you have understand the basic concepts, and then also at least you know how to write some Dart code, then it's actually quite easy to understand. Like just now we have the widgets here, and then even though GitHub summary looks complicated, but then at least you can understand what it is doing here. So like previously you have already learned how to manage states using a stateful widget. So there are some things that you can explore here. And then the expanded widget and the row widget are from the layouts. So yeah, so this is where you start to see you get to use different widgets in the app. So yep, that's the end of our session today. And actually, this is our final session. So after this, we might start with a track that is aimed for intermediate users. So that will assume that you have a basic understanding of how to build a simple Flutter app. But that one, I don't have things planned out exactly yet. So if you have any idea of what you want to build or what you want to learn, you can post it in the group. So yeah, this is the space for putting all your discussions and questions. And then yeah, to wrap this up, I think I can show you what are the upcoming events in Women Who Code. So today, later actually at 2 p.m. we have the Hacktoberfest meetup. So yeah, it's October already, and obviously we have Hacktoberfest. And then Hacktoberfest is an initiative by DigitalOcean, if not mistaken. So to encourage more open source project, to encourage the contribution to open source projects. And then after that, tonight also we have the Angular study group. So if you are into Angular or web development, you can join us. And tomorrow we have the .NET Core study group as well. And this happens on every week. This one is on every Saturday at 8:30, and the other one at 9:30 on every Sunday. So, yeah. Yeah, is there any question from you guys? If not, then we will end the session. And thanks, Thomas, for supporting, for coming every week. Okay, all right then. Yeah, you can ask any question here, and then hope to keep in touch with you guys. And thanks again for coming, and see you soon. Bye-bye.